Who here wants to burn some fat while they're watching Netflix? Right? A little bit of Stranger Things and weight loss, that's cool. How about steady energy through the day where you're not crashing in the afternoon? Yeah, I know, right? We're here at KetoCon. How about better insulin sensitivity? A little bit more heart protection. Anyone? Right? Then you need T2 in your life. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I want you to imagine for just a moment, because I know this is tough for a lot of you. You're on the struggle bus with weight. Imagine fat loss that is easy, where you're not gaining weight looking sideways at a brownie because you have a metabolism. This is Gabriella. We did some fixing of her thyroid. We added in T2. She lost 50 pounds. She struggled with infertility. She had 2 beautiful babies, and now she's running 5Ks. I also want you to imagine not needing a nap at 2 p.m., not looking at that couch thinking, damn, that really looks good right now. Maybe I should go to the vending machine for some energy. And maybe you get a thumbs up from your sick medicine doctor because your blood work looks good. This is why you need T2 in your life. Now, first of all, some of you don't know me. Who is this person up here talking about T2? My name is Dr. Amie Horniman. I'm also known as the Thyroid Fixxr. I have the Thyroid Fixxr podcast. I also have the Fixxr supplement line. We're right out there. And my flagship product, Thyroid Fixxr, named after the brand, was birthed out of 15 years of research on T2. And we're going to talk about that today. I also have a telemedicine practice where we can prescribe to all 50 states the right thyroid treatment, bioidentical hormones, peptides. And this came out of my own struggle because it was my goal to be able to help people everywhere, all 50 states and parts of Canada, because I have been there and done that. Back in the day, I competed in figure competitions, I did powerlifting, I did fitness modeling, and for all of these, I had to diet down, but I knew what to do. I had done plenty. Chicken, fish, broccoli, asparagus, gym twice a day. I had done plenty of these. I knew how my body was supposed to react, and I was working with a coach. So when I'm working with a coach, I have to get on the scale and send in my weight and send in progress pictures. It's really fun. So I do my thing. I'm busting my butt at the gym. I'm eating properly, the diet that he gave me, and I get on the scale. First time. And it's up 10 pounds. Now, this doesn't biologically make sense. I'm eating right. Whether you believe in calories in, calories out or not, that doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be up 10 pounds. But that's okay. I'm going to eat less and exercise more. I'll go to the gym 3 times a day because I'm doing this show. Big show. So I get ready. All right, next week, time to check in. 20 pounds. 20 pounds heavier on the scale. Now the depression sets in. The self-loathing sets in. The embarrassment sets in. And I know everyone at the gym is like, she's eating the donuts. But I wasn't. I was doing all the things. Have you done all the things and the scale didn't move down? It went up. Finally, I step on the scale one last time. 25 pounds heavier in a month. My body was rebelling against me. So I dropped out of the show and I went to see my doctor. And my first doctor says, you're normal, everything is fine. But I didn't feel fine, and I didn't feel normal. So I didn't stop there. Second opinion, right? Doctor number 2, and then 3, and then 4, how about 5, and then finally 6. Has anyone been told any of these phrases before by your sick medicine doctor? It's medical gaslighting. It's all in your head, but it wasn't. Because the 7th doctor touched my throat and said swallow and said, you have a goiter, you have a thyroid problem. We're gonna give you a pill. And I was so pumped. I'm like, yes, I have a name now for what's going on with me, and I have a pill. and that pill was T4, the inactive thyroid hormone. I gave it 5 months, no change, not one single change on the scale. So I went back to her and I started researching. I'm like, but there's T3, there's T2, there's these other thyroid hormones that are active. I'm taking the inactive one. She goes, well, yeah, I don't deal with that. This is standard of care. So I said, I'm going to find somebody who does. And that led me to functional medicine that saved my life. My functional medicine doctor sat with me for 90 minutes. Have you gotten 90 minutes from your PCP ever? Endocrinologist? OBGYN? No? 90 minutes. And he went through all of my labs, and he gave me a treatment protocol that worked, and he saved my life. So I changed career paths. That's why I'm here with you today, because I am as passionate about not letting you go through the same thing that I went through. We need to stop the medical gaslighting in our sick medicine system and do right by people so that you can be the badass human you're meant to be. So before we dive into thyroid, before we dive into T2, I want you to understand a little bit more about the thyroid. So first of all, it is your master gland. It runs the show. It gives you a metabolism. It grows your hair. It strengthens your nails. It lets you poop every day and lights up your brain. It makes 4 thyroid hormones. Real simple, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was given T4, inactive. T2 and T3 are the metabolically active thyroid hormones. That's what gives you that metabolism. T3 and T2 make you the badass human that you are meant to be. And we are all meant to live our best life. So what is T2? The really long form is 3,5-diodo-L-threonine. Turns out there's 30 years of research on T2. 30 years, and we don't hear about it much, do we? 30 years of research shows that it's a very potent thyroid metabolite that produces energy, i.e. it burns calories. It's a modulator of our energy metabolism. Its effect on the body is phenomenal. Reducing fat mass, it increases your resting metabolic rate. It promotes fat browning. Now, it works at the mitochondrial level to produce ATP. That's going to give you that steady energy through the day. It stimulates skeletal mitochondrial uncoupling. We'll go over what that is. It does not burn your muscle, and it acts just like exercise. All right, so let's break this down. Burning fat while we're watching Netflix. We all want that. Yeah. So, the amount of fat that you are burning at rest, not exercising, sitting there in the chairs, you can have an increased resting metabolic rate with T2. Now, this particular study showed a 4% reduction in body fat, an average of a 9-pound weight drop in just 30 days. And it stimulates, T2 stimulates energy expenditure, calorie burn. The really interesting point about T2 is that it increases resting metabolic rate within an hour after taking it, and the effect actually peaked at 30 hours. Now, why this is so interesting is because even T3 thyroid medication has a 4-hour half-life. It peaks at 4 hours and starts coming down the other side. T2 stays in your system, keeping your metabolism revved without the jitters for over 30 hours. This study showed that it increases resting metabolic rate without undesirable side effects. Now, what does that mean? Going back to my days of competing, anybody take hydroxycut and feel like they're gonna have a heart attack, right? How about those energy drinks? You're drinking those like crazy and you're jittery and you feel like your chest is pounding out of your heart's pounding out of your chest. Those are the undesirable side effects that are not associated with T2. The results of this study showed non-hypothyroid human subjects getting results. Now, why is this important? They achieved a 4% body fat reduction because this tells us that anyone can use T2 even if you don't have a thyroid problem. Yes, it's a thyroid hormone, but even those without a thyroid problem, without being on that thyroid struggle bus, saw a 4% body fat reduction when they added T2. No change in thyroid lab markers. Now, this is important because I don't want you to go to your doctor after taking T2 and have your doctor look at your thyroid labs and say, oh my God, you're hyperthyroid. We need to slow that down. Let's slow your metabolism down. No change to thyroid lab markers, no undesirable side effects, no jitters, no heart racing. Number 2, it promotes fat browning. Why are we jumping in cold plunges? Freezing our asses off? Because we want to stimulate that brown adipose tissue. Brown fat is what we want. White fat, we don't want. So we want to brown that white fat to make us more metabolically active. This study showed a browning of white fat in high-fat diet-induced overweight mice. Now, this is not a ketogenic high-fat diet. This is the equivalent to you eating 1,000 grams of fat in a day. I don't care how keto or carnivore you are, 1,000 grams of fat, you're going to gain weight. These rats, even fed an enormous amount of fat, still lost weight, still browned their white fat with T2. And then we're also seeing it work in hypothyroid rats. Why is this important? Because anyone who's on the thyroid struggle bus knows that you have a low metabolism. And it sucks. And you have to fight it. But T2 will actually stimulate that white adipose tissue, turn it brown, even if you are hypothyroid. Now, it works at the mitochondrial level. When it works at the mitochondrial level, it's stimulating ATP. That's what's giving you that nice steady energy through the day. And again, it does not affect thyroid levels or cardiovascular function. You're not going to see a change in your thyroid labs. That is why hypothyroid and non-hypothyroid patients can use it, people can use it, and it won't give you the cardiovascular jitters. It stimulates skeletal muscle mitochondrial uncoupling. What is that? Why is it important? Because when we do this, when we can uncouple the mitochondria, we're going to see an increase in energy expenditure. So again, it's the amount of calories that you're burning at rest. It's going to induce thermogenesis, fat burning. It increases your glutathione content. Who doesn't want more glutathione? Master antioxidant, detoxifier. And it reduces reactive oxygen species production. So decreasing that oxidative stress. That's why we want to stimulate that mitochondrial uncoupling, and T2 does that. And it does not burn muscle. Now we know that muscle is now being called the organ of longevity. We want to maintain our muscle as we age, not only to have a great metabolism, but to keep our insulin in check, our cardiovascular system healthy. We want to protect our bones. We want to avoid sarcopenia or the loss of muscle as we age. I have a little story for you. I was talking to a trainer to the pros. So fitness, figure, bodybuilding. He was training the women, getting on stage, doing what I used to do. And I got to tell you, bodybuilders are the OGs of biohacking. We were using peptides long before all y'all were. We were using the hormones, we were using SARMs, we were using peptides. We would experiment on ourselves, good or bad. And he said, you know, I don't allow my women to use T3 because, side note, competitors will use T3 thyroid hormone, whether they have a thyroid problem or not, to lose body fat, to get ready for a show, to step on stage in a bikini as your leanest, most muscular self. They will use and abuse T3. The problem is, as he stated, they're going to come out the other side with a thyroid problem. And I've seen it. My competitors, the ladies that I used to work with and see compete, 30 pounds heavier after a show, easily. Now they have a thyroid problem. Now they're going to be on thyroid medication the rest of their life. He says, I use T2 because it doesn't burn muscle. It doesn't cause hypothyroidism or have that negative feedback loop on the thyroid. It only burns body fat. T3 will burn muscle and body fat. And listen, if you need T3, that's beautiful. But you can add in T2, protect your muscle, and only burn body fat. And finally, it acts as an exercise mimetic. Now, this does not mean that you stop lifting heavy stuff. I still want you lifting heavy. But when we look at what does exercise do? It improves our insulin sensitivity. That's what we want. It lowers leptin, it lowers body fat, it increases calorie burn, it induces thermogenesis, the burning of our fat, improves cholesterol, and reduces fatty liver. That's awesome. That's what we want. T2 also improves insulin sensitivity, lowers leptin, lowers your body fat. Like we said, it induces thermogenesis. It makes you more metabolically active. And this is where we're going to see, and you're going to receive the thumbs up from your sick medicine doctor because it's going to improve your cholesterol levels and reduce fatty liver. And then your doctor's going to be happy, just like you're going to be happy, that you're losing weight. Because we want to be at a healthy weight optimally, to be optimal in our life, to avoid disease, to reduce our cholesterol, to have healthy levels of cholesterol. We don't want to be insulin resistant. We do not want to walk around with a fatty liver. That's setting us up for the diseases of aging that come from being overweight. And T2 is really coming up in the literature as a potential anti-obesity supplement, not a drug, not yet at least. The bonus points for T2 is right now it is available over the counter as a supplement. So you don't have to beg your doctor for a script for it like you do with T3. But we just hope that Big Pharma does not get a hold of this and turn it into a drug because right now it's readily available and it's not overpriced. It will not change your thyroid lab values. Again, that is so important because I don't want you looking like you're hyperthyroid. And there's no cardiovascular effect. Anyone can take it who wants to lose weight and have a little bit more energy. I hear a lot, I see a lot from my patients, from my customers. Again, 15 years went into developing Thyroid Fixxr, which has T2 in it. I hear all the time, I can't go without it. It's helping me maintain weight. I don't have to beg my doctor for T3 now. I'm getting the results from using T2. And especially those that are stuck on T4, you know that little pill that didn't work for me? T4. T4 only works in 2% of the population. 98% of those with hypothyroidism need T4 and T3 and T2 combined or T3 and T2 only. So that little pill that gave me no help whatsoever, if you are on T4 only, add in T2. You don't have to beg your doctor for it. What people are seeing, total change in body composition, reduction of fat while keeping muscle, while still lifting heavy. And it's very interesting what it can do with hypothyroid patients. Has anyone had the moon face from hypothyroidism, that round moon face? This is a patient of mine, she's unrecognizable now. She completely lost that inflammation, that roundness in her face. Amazing results from it. There we go. Is that it? Yeah. So what I want you to do is scan the QR code. That way you can connect with me everywhere. I want to hear from you. I want to connect on social. I want you to jump on the podcast, subscribe to the podcast and listen and learn about hormones, about weight loss. If you're interested in working together, like I said, we prescribe in all 50 states. It's awesome. But most of all, I want to hear your questions because this is my favorite part of being here, is your questions. Love Q&A. So please, let's get into Q&A, and at the same time, if we don't get through all of them, come to the Fixxr supplement booth. I'm right out there, around the corner. I'll be there today, and I want to hear from you. I want to see your labs. I want to hear what you're struggling with. I want your questions. So let's go. Anybody, anybody, anybody? This is the best part, yes. And I think you can come up to the microphone as well, and that way we can capture it and I can hear you and everyone can hear you.
I do not have a thyroid, and I've been on levothyroxine for many, many years. Will T2 help me?
Yes, yes. This is a beautiful question, thank you. So those without a thyroid, first of all, if we remove your thyroid gland that once produced T1, 2, 3, 4, and then we give you T4 only, how does that even make sense? So now you no longer have the gland that produced thyroid hormone. You no longer have the gland that converts T4 to T3, because remember I said T3 is inactive? It has to do a conversion over to become T3, the active thyroid hormone. You need your thyroid gland to make that conversion happen. So it's borderline medical malpractice, in my eyes, to give someone without a thyroid T4 only. Yes, you desperately need T2, because if you can't get your doctor to prescribe T3, if you're working with someone that has you stuck on T4 only, absolutely 100% T2.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm a carnivore. I'm doing the carnivore lifestyle. I've lost 42 pounds since September.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, praise the Lord. Yeah. However, my doctor keeps telling me, oh, your thyroid numbers are low. And I'm like, okay. Oh, sorry. Tells me my thyroid numbers are low. And I said, okay. So I had 3 ultrasounds. She says, I'm still not happy, but does nothing about it. So she scheduled my 4th one this past Tuesday, and I said, I'm not doing it. I take biotin regularly, gummies, and she said, oh, we just found out that biotin affects the thyroid testing. I'm like, you are so full of bull. I'm just done. And so, pardon me?
It does. So it does affect.
And that's fine. That's probably what's been going on. I don't have thyroid problems. So, I mean.
Well, we don't know.
Well,
so,
true.
Right. So you said that you had, that she actually told you that you have low thyroid function or low thyroid hormones, right?
Correct.
So even if you were taking biotin, it's only going to affect the TSH. So I don't know if she's testing everything, but she should be testing TSH, free T4, free T3, reverse T3, TPO, and TGA antibodies. So if your doctor's not testing all of those, then it's time to get a new doctor.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so I was wondering, should I go ahead and buy your thyroid Fixxr product?
Well, at the end of the day, that's up to you. You can certainly add it in, but
so it won't hurt.
It's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to change your thyroid lab values, like biotin actually can. However, I also want you to get retested thoroughly.
Sure.
And explore, because if you have a thyroid problem, you want to address it. And you want to find out what you need to do to address it. Maybe it's low iodine, maybe it's low magnesium, maybe you actually need thyroid hormone replacement. We don't know unless you're thoroughly tested.
But why would I be testing it anyway? There are no symptoms. What are the symptoms?
What are the symptoms? Okay, this is good.
Yeah.
This is good. So we talked about weight gain. We talked about low energy, right? Insulin resistance is a big one. Everything that can be helped by T2 is a symptom of low thyroid function, including constipation, brain fog, hair loss,
have none of that.
Muscle pain. So if you are a rock star and you're living your best life,
yes, I am.
Then don't worry about it, right?
Thank you.
But the point is, if you have symptoms, I would not want you to be ignored.
I have no symptoms. I feel fantastic.
And
And I'm
you're good.
so sick of paying for stuff I don't need to.
Bam, mic drop.
Yeah. Hi. Wow, I'm loud on the other hand.
Thank you.
So I'm on NP thyroid, N as in Nancy, P as in Paul, for those of you who don't know.
Yep.
But I insisted on the natural, and I had to find a doctor that would do that. And then they said, well, it's, you know, flighty, the test result, whatever. It's, you know, up and down. I said, well, test me every 3 months then.
Okay.
There you go. And they sometimes do. Anyway, but my doctor, last time I went into him about my thyroid, I told him, I said, I want these tests, the ones you mentioned, all of them, that whole panel, because Dr. Barry, said, you know, these are the tests you need to do. So I tried, and my doctor said, the only one I know how to interpret is TSH.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, you're fired. And so, but now I'm trying to find like a naturopath or a functional doctor or something. But here's my question, and I don't mean to play devil's advocate, but this is what's really going on in my head. Okay. So the glutathione, I heard a rumor, and I think I heard it about 3 weeks ago, a month, that, and I'm carnivore too, so I'm way low carb. And but I still have, you know, symptoms of the low thyroid. I still am tired. Sometimes I lay in bed for a long time in the morning, and it's hard to get going. And so, anyway, I heard the rumor that glutathione can also feed cancer. And so I believe that was what I heard. And so I've actually been researching it since I heard that and wondering about if I'm way low carb, maybe it doesn't, you know? And I just read something on PubMed about cancer can hide in your bones or whatever in the glutathione. Anyway, the glutathione can be protective, definitely. But there are places that it can hide and maybe feed. And so I just wondered if I'm on the right track with my research, and is my mind going in the wrong direction? Just wondering. So
Okay,
thanks.
Let's unpack all that. Well, wait, stay there because I might have a question for you.
Okay.
So when we're talking about the mitochondrial uncoupling, increasing glutathione, that's going to increase your natural glutathione. It's not like taking glutathione.
Okay.
Now, I have not gone down the rabbit hole of what you just said. I haven't heard it, but I haven't gone down that rabbit hole either, of glutathione being tied to cancer. I really don't know that.
Okay.
Going back to what you said in the very beginning, that you do have symptoms. So set the glutathione aside, go back to you.
Right.
Right? So you have symptoms. If you are struggling with symptoms, and this goes for anybody, your body, our bodies were not made to be fat, tired, depressed,
Right.
bald, right? Losing muscle. No.
Right.
When you're experiencing those symptoms, that is a beautiful gift by your body, just like I was given, to do something about it, to find out why. Why is your body not working properly? Why is your body rebelling against you? And that's really where the testing comes in and proper treatment comes
Absolutely.
in. So yeah, I would encourage you, like I said, we prescribe to all 50 states, you can work with us, or find somebody that knows what the heck they're doing with the thyroid and hormones. Because as we age, we need hormones too. If you were at Karen Martell's talk, she nailed it with hormones.
Yeah.
Perimenopause and menopause, we need bioidentical hormone replacement.
Yes.
We need proper thyroid treatment.
Yes.
Because we deserve to live our best life. So if
Amen.
you're suffering with symptoms,
Yep.
then we got to do something about it, and we can do something about it.
Yes. Thank you. And there was one more thing. Dang it. That's the other thing. Brain
fog is
brain
a definite
freaking fog.
is a definite symptom. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And that can be thyroid or hormone related.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want that full panel. That's what I was going to say. I want that full panel done. So I don't care, doctor or no doctor. I'm going to know your labs. or one of those.
Yep, there's a
that
bunch
I
of them out
can do
there.
it online. It's not that expensive to get your labs done, everybody. And you can get the labs you want done. Thank you very freaking much, because my health is my responsibility.
There you go.
Hello.
Hi.
You mentioned calorie burning and losing fat, and from what I understand, it increases RMR. And I wanted to ask how much, like if you're getting supplementing daily, is it like 1 kcal per day, 50, 500?
I haven't seen any research on the amount, because as we know, we're so individual, right? How our bodies are going to be responding to that, and really what else is going on in our body as well, can determine the amount of caloric or energy expenditure that we receive from taking T2, or that we have on a daily basis, even without T2. So our resting metabolic rate, and you could, the DEXA scan, right? I got a test yesterday, printed out what is my RMR, what is my basal metabolic rate, the amount of fat that I am burning, or calories that I am burning, doing nothing, no exercise. So we can determine that for us as an individual, but then we have to go a little bit deeper. Are we dealing with insulin resistance? Are we dealing with low hormone function, low testosterone? That's all going to affect and come into play and affect how quickly our metabolism is working, even if you add in T2. So I think it's hard to determine. I haven't seen a study done. I don't even think it would be possible because of our unique bio-individuality.
Do you have anecdotal data then, or going back and saying I ate maintenance calories for 1 month and I lost this much weight, then you can kind of calculate the RMR from there?
So yes, so I started studying T2 about 15 years ago, and it originally was more in kind of the bro science world, the bodybuilding, powerlifting world, but I started using it with my patients, especially those that were stuck on T4. And this is before we could prescribe to all 50 states. So I had to help these people that were on T4. And I found T2 and I started using it with my patients. And that is when they started seeing results. Now, every single person was different. You know, obviously if you have someone that is 250 pounds, they're going to lose weight faster than someone that's 150 that wants to get down to 140, right? So it's going to be more determinant on the person. Again, back to the bio-individuality. But yes, anecdotally, and that's really where I started seeing the potential benefit of T2 with hypothyroid and non-hypothyroid patients, because I was seeing these amazing results in my patients that were stuck on T4 like I was.
And why do we need to supplement T2? Like what are we deficient in? What do we need to get naturally? Like we haven't mentioned here, but how can we improve it naturally?
Well, there is no way to increase it naturally. So just like our thyroid hormones, right? We're replacing hormones that are no longer being properly made by our body. So if we take, let's take aging and bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. So we're replacing estradiol, testosterone in men, testosterone in women, progesterone. Those hormones are going down. And again, I'm going to refer back to Karen Martell's talk. She showed a beautiful slide that showed exactly where those hormones were falling off and when. So really at the age of 35, we're seeing that steep decline. Now, there's no, and again, Karen, love you if you're here, freaking amazing talk. Again, we cannot diet, we cannot supplement, we cannot intermittent fast, we cannot sleep our way to more hormones. We can add in supplements that help with the production to a point, but unless someone has figured out how to age like Benjamin Button, we're all losing hormones at some point. So we replace those hormones that are not being properly made. So same thing with the thyroid. So we know the thyroid gland makes T1, 2, 3, 4. Listen, I have plenty of patients coming in with low T3. There is no diet, there is no protocol, there's no detox in the world, there's no supplement in the world that is going to make their body produce more T3 to get them from a 2.3 to a 3.7. It's not going to happen. We have to replace that hormone. So same thing with T2. Now, more human studies need to be done And I don't know whether they will get done or not unless Big Pharma wants to take over and start making T2 and kick it out of the supplement world. That is a possibility because T3 used to be available in supplemental form and now it's not. So when we look at how much does the thyroid gland produce, if we look at something like NP thyroid contains roughly, and this is a 60 milligram dose of NP or Armour, is going to contain roughly 6 to 9 micrograms of T3. The T3 dose used in the studies where it showed a 9-pound weight loss and a 4% reduction in body fat used 150 to 300 micrograms. So there's no way that we can get our thyroid gland to produce that much. So we have to supplement with it.
Got it. And it doesn't affect the blood works. What's the mechanism happening there? Like, well, we take the supplements and what biological mechanism happens that it doesn't show up in the blood work later on?
Just literally everything that we talked about. It's working at the mitochondrial level instead of actually down-regulating your own thyroid production. It stimulates that mitochondrial uncoupling. It promotes the brown adipose tissue. So that's essentially how it is working in the body to not have that negative feedback loop.
So can we say that if we're taking more and it's not showing up in blood work, then we could use even a bit more dosage? Can we say that?
I'm just going by the studies, so I would cap it at 300 micrograms because there hasn't been any study done to show if there are effects if you super physiologically dose it.
And are there anecdotes like who do 2 times, 3 times more? Have they shared their experiences, people, and with anecdotal data?
Of people taking more, you mean?
Taking more, yes.
I haven't heard of anyone taking more. Most people pretty much stay in the parameters of dosing guidelines. So I haven't heard any reports back from anyone taking more.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. We got 10 more minutes and then I'll be out there.
Hi, thank you for your talk. I had a couple questions. Maybe you kind of answered this last one, but about just like best diet foods, lifestyle hacks to support your thyroid in general. And my second question was, as a practitioner, sometimes I feel like practitioners actually have personal opinions about like the standard ranges for like thyroid hormones, for example. Like, do you think that they are all accurate? And, or do you sometimes look at individual patients and say, you know, actually, I kind of always feel like it should be here, even though the medical guidelines based on the average American, which, you know, we may not consider to be super healthy anyway, are actually over here.
Right.
So those are my 2 questions. Thank you.
Okay, beautiful. So for everyone, the standard lab value range, so that standard lab value range that you see on your labs is taken from groups of sick people, like we know, right? Whereas functional medicine comes in, are you a functional practitioner, integrated functional?
No, but just interested in over the long term, and also helping my mom sometimes look at her blood work and stuff like that.
Okay, so you know that those standard lab value ranges that you see taken from groups of sick people, whereas functional medicine comes in and says, let's narrow that down. So this is a perfect analogy given by Mark Hyman years ago. So I give him credit. He said, that standard lab value range is like the side of a barn. If I give you a ball and I say, go ahead and hit the side of a barn, you're probably gonna hit it. Now, if I put a narrow little bullseye on that side of a barn and say, hit this, you may not. But that is where functional medicine has our optimal ranges. So we take the healthy, the badasses, the fit people, and we say, let's test them to see where should people land to feel their best. And that's how we get that narrow functional medicine range for our labs. Now, again, back to that bio-individuality. I will have someone come in and we'll look at their T3. So T3, free T3, I like in the upper quadrant of the range. So no matter what lab you're looking at, look at that standard lab value range, cut it in the fourth. I want you to be in the upper quadrant of that range, or maybe even over. As long as you are being asked the 4 most important words that any practitioner or doctor can ever ask you, how do you feel? And then that comes into play when you're looking at the labs. So if I have someone come in and their free T3 is in the bottom half of the range, and I ask, well, okay, how do you feel? Like, I feel great. I'm losing weight. I have energy. My hair is growing back. This is awesome. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm not touching that. They're an anomaly that I'm like, oh, well, I mean, I'm looking at this going, you should feel like ass, but you don't. That's wonderful. And then you could have someone that's almost in that upper quadrant of the range, or they're in it. Like, I can't lose anything. I'm tired all the time. I haven't gone to the bathroom in 3 days. We're going to address that. I don't care that they're in the upper quadrant of the range, in the optimal range. Maybe their optimal is higher because we're all unique individuals. So it's really about pairing. You still want to take that optimal range and then pair that up with how the person feels to determine the proper route of treatment, really.
And would you say for all the thyroid markers, you actually want to see it in the upper part of the range?
No. So I do have a download on my website. I have a free guide on my website with optimal lab values. So it tells you everything to get, and then it actually gives you the optimal ranges. I didn't want to throw too much into this talk because then it'd be all over the place.
That's
but
very helpful.
Yeah, so TSH, we like below a 2. Free T3 is one of the most important ones in the upper quadrant of the range, and reverse T3 less than 12. And that's pretty universal throughout all countries. I mean, there's a couple countries that'll have a wonky reverse T3 lab value range, but most of them go from like a 5 to a 24. So we want that less than 12.
Okay, and then I heard you say in the last one that you just believe that these hormones, if you're not making them, that it's not really. But if there was like if there are certain nutrients or lifestyle hacks that you think most support your thyroid, could you share what those are?
Sure. So when we're looking at the thyroid, like last year I talked about reverse T3, and we just talked about it here. Reverse T3 is the anti-thyroid hormone. So reverse T3 is like a bouncer outside of your cell door, arms crossed, going, hey, T3, you're not getting in. I know you want to attach to the cell and you want to turn on the metabolism, but you're not getting in today. So when we're looking at all the different causes of elevated reverse T3, and we want to lower our reverse T3 optimally because we don't want to be in survival mode. It's survival mode. It's built into our bodies so that if you're lying in the ICU or the ER, you're injured, you're fighting for your life, yeah, reverse T3 is going to go up because you don't need to burn fat, you don't need to feel good, you don't need to think, you don't even need to poop. You just need to lay there and survive. So reverse T3 is going to go up in that instance, but what if you're walking around trying to live life, raise a family, run a business, work, right? Work out a little bit, go lift heavy shit. You want your reverse T3 to be in the optimal range. We can add iodine, magnesium. Let's lower our insulin, become more insulin sensitive. Reduce inflammation any way that we possibly can with all the information that you're getting here today. You want to exercise. You want to eat non-processed foods. Avoid seed oils. All of the things that you're learning about here absolutely incorporate to lower that reverse T3 and improve thyroid function. And actually, you don't want to over-fast. Fasting is one of the most detrimental things that you can do if you're a woman with a thyroid problem. And I'm talking about the crazy fast. Yeah, if you want to do a 12-hour, if you even want to throw in a 14 or 16, that's fine. But if you're doing an OMAD, you're doing yourself harm. Because I've seen T3 levels tank, and then you can't get in enough protein either. So yes, it becomes more nuanced with each person, and there are some general things that you can do to improve thyroid function, but sometimes, just like I said earlier, sometimes it comes down to you just have to replace the hormones that are no longer being properly made by your body.
Amazing. Thank you so much for everything you're sharing here.
Thank you.
Hey, I had my labs tested and they were low. The T3 or T4 was low.
Okay.
And I think they prescribed one of those. I don't remember which one, but I was listening to another doctor say that if you take those supplements or replacements, then it just causes your thyroid to stop producing anything. That all you need to do is take the precursors or the conversion things like iodine or something like that. So is that something that you've seen in your practice, or is that, do you know?
Right. So first of all, you said your thyroid hormones were low.
Mm-hmm.
Again, are they testing everything? So that's number one, right?
I don't know.
And then you said they gave you something. Was it a supplement or medication?
It was to replace one of them. I don't know. It was through the pharmacy, so it was.
So it's probably T4, or,
Okay.
you know, because
Yeah.
that is standard of care. Unless you're working with a functional or integrative practitioner and you're seeing 9 times out of 10 you're going to get T4, just like I did. Now in that case, I've had plenty of patients come into the practice and say, you know what, I just stopped my thyroid medication because I wasn't feeling good anyways. Well, it's not that they didn't need it, they needed the proper type in the proper amount. So T4 is the only thyroid hormone that will convert to reverse T3. We just talked about reverse T3, it's the anti-thyroid hormone. T4 can convert to reverse T3. T3 and T2 do not convert to reverse T3. So if you're giving someone, like I was given, T4 only, and you have issues with converting, or you have a genetic SNP that doesn't allow you to convert, then if you're placed on T4 only, you're going to get worse. And to your point, you're going to shut down your own thyroid. You're going to have that negative feedback loop, right? So then I can totally see why people just, oh, I'm just going to stop it because I'm not feeling better. Right, but you could feel better. So if we do proper testing, we see what your numbers are, and we replace those hormones properly, we can replace it with NP thyroid, Armour thyroid, T3. We can combine NP and Armour with T3. We can change the ratio. We can do so much to make it unique to you so that we can actually improve your life. So it depends on your labs, your symptoms, how far down the path of destruction, if you have Hashimoto's, how far down the path of destruction is your thyroid, and then we determine what the right method is, what the right treatment plan is. Maybe it is just nutrient support. Maybe it is just supplements, but maybe it does require T4 and T3, or T3 only, or T4 and T2, some type of combination to really help you feel your best. At the end of the day, it's about how we feel. You're more than a lab marker. It's about how all you feel. If you feel like garbage, you're not meant to walk around feeling like garbage. You're not meant to walk around being overweight, not able to lose it when you're doing all the things and taking care of yourself. So again, those symptoms are beautiful signs and gifts by your body to get tested and maybe do something about it.
Thank you.
All right, we got time for one more. Let's go. Woo.
Hi. Regarding Hashimoto's, will those antibodies eventually go down to the normal ranges?
They can. Yes, they can. So TPO and TGA antibodies, that's what she's asking about. Those are our 2 testing markers for Hashimoto's. So Hashimoto's is the autoimmune form of hypothyroidism where your body is attacking your thyroid. There are 2 things that we can use to lower those antibodies. One of them is low-dose naltrexone. That's a prescription. And number 2 is black cumin seed oil. And I went down the rabbit hole of black cumin seed oil, and I have a podcast on it where I created Hashimoto's Fixxr as part of my line with black cumin seed, knowing that it lowers thyroid antibodies. I had no idea until I went down this rabbit hole that it is anti-cancer, it improves lipid profiles, it improves insulin sensitivity, it helps with hair growth, it helps with weight loss. So yes, I would add in black cumin seed oil, and then you go gluten-free, because we know that gluten, the gliadin protein of gluten, looks like the thyroid gland. So when you have these soldiers, these autoimmune soldiers that like to go out and beat up your thyroid, when you eat gluten, those soldiers see that molecule and they go start a war. So they're going to attack that molecule, and then they're attacking your thyroid gland. So you have to be gluten-free, but then you can absolutely add in things like black cumin seed oil to lower those antibodies as well.
And what would be a dose on the black cumin seed oil? Would you take a capsule or a liquid, or?
I heard the liquid tastes horrible. I've never tried it. So I put Hashimoto's Fixxr into a capsule. So it's liquid in a capsule, so you can just swallow it, because you don't want to, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you, everyone. Like I said, I will be at the Fixxr supplement booth if you have any other questions. I love your questions. Love them.